In this video, we're going to go over how to write CSS code. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and CSS is what lets us add style to our web page. So color, fonts, backgrounds, things like that. So we're going to go over the structure of how we write all CSS code, and then we're going to look at three attributes in particular. So the color of our text, the background of the web page, and how to add borders. So the first thing that we need to make sure we've done, and if you're using REPL, it will do it automatically for you, is we have to link our CSS file to our HTML file. So I've already created the CSS file over here. That happens when you create your new REPL. And in your HTML file, you'll notice there's this line with the link tag, and it links to style.css. That's the name of our style sheet over here. So that's just saying to the browser, we want to style all of the HTML elements in this web page using the code that we've written in style.css. So we're going to head over to style.css now and start adding in that code. So whenever we add style, we have to first say what element on our web page we want to style. So to start, I want to style the color of this heading, the My First Web Page heading. So in HTML, we'll remember that is the H1, heading 1 element. So since I used the H1 tag to add that text to my page, in my CSS, I'm going to write H1 to say I'm going to add some style to my H1 elements. And then I type a space, and then I put curly brackets. So to do curly brackets, you hold Shift and press the bracket key. In between those two curly brackets is where I put all of the code that tells the browser how to style H1 elements. So in this case, I want to style the color of them. So I want to make it something other than black. So the way that we format our CSS code in between curly brackets is we write the name of the attribute first. In this case, the attribute is color. Then I put a colon, space, and then I put the value. And in REPL, there's this nice autocomplete. It'll show you different colors. You can also create custom colors using RGB or red, green, blue values. I'm not going to go over that now, but you can look at W3 Schools for examples of how to do that. So I'm just going to pick a color here. I'm going to go with pink. And then I always end the line with a semicolon. So colon after the attribute name, semicolon at the end. So now I can go ahead and run this and see what it looks like. All right, you can see that the heading 1 is now pink. If I want to add something else to it, to add back in that semicolon, it looks like it got deleted somehow. But I can just go down here. I don't have to make another H1 section again. I've already said I'm adding code to style H1, so all the code can go in between the curly brackets if it has to do with H1. So now I want to change the background, so the color behind the heading 1 text. So I'm going to type in background, put the colon, and then I'm going to pick a different color. So let's go with, we will do purple. And we even get a couple different options, purple or plum. I'll just go with regular purple then. So I'm going to run it again. And now you can see the background is purple and the text color is pink. All right, so now I think I'm done styling heading 1, and I want to add now a background to the entire page. So to do that, I again have to begin by typing in the HTML element that I'm going to style. And in this case, it's the body element. So if we look back at our HTML code, remember the body section is where we put all of the code for what we want to show on our web page. So the head has the extra code that doesn't show up on the web page. Body is what shows up on the web page. So we want everything on the web page to have a background color, so I'm going to style the body. So back in my CSS file, I type body, space, curly brackets. And I'm going to do, just like I did for H1, I'm going to do background, colon, and my color. We'll go with the blue. This is going to look a little bit garish, I think, but it will show the idea. So there we go. We have background color on the entire web page. Okay, the last thing that we're going to go over is how to add a border. So we can add a border around any element. It could be around a picture, it could be around text, whatever you want a border around. So I'm going to start by adding a border around the picture of the teddy bear. So I have to look back at my HTML code. Remember that IMG is the tag for that picture. So in my CSS, I write IMG, so I'm styling the picture. And if I had multiple pictures, they would all use the IMG tag, so they'd all get this style code. So they'd all have border around them. All right, I'm going to type border, colon. And then the border actually has 3 parts to it. The first part is how wide we want the border to be. So I'm going to go with 3 pixels to start with, and then if it looks maybe not quite how I want it, I can come back and change it. So I'm going to write 3px, no space between the p and the 3. The next part is what style I want it to be. So I can do a solid border, a dotted border, a dashed border, double border. There's a lot of options. I'm going to go with a plain solid border for this. And then the last thing I have to pick is the color. So for this, we're just going to do a black border. So width, style, color, it has to be in that order. If it's not, it won't work. I'm going to test it out and see how it looks. And there we go. I've got a nice black border around the picture. So I'm going to also show how to do this around a paragraph and show you a slightly different style, but it's the same idea. So since I'm going to style my paragraph, I'm going to type P. That's the tag for a paragraph. Put my curly brackets. I'm doing a border. And this one is going to be a skinny border, so 1 pixel. And this time I'm going to do double border. And we'll do it in pink. So it's going to create a double border of pink, 1 pixel wide around my paragraph. And again, if I had multiple paragraphs, they would all get a border around them. So there we go. And it's kind of hard to see the double border with just 1 pixel wide. So I'm going to go back and change this and make this 10 pixels, so much wider border. And now we can really see that double border popping out there. All right, so whenever you're adding your CSS code, you start with the HTML element that you want to style, space, curly bracket, all the code in there. So remember H1, we'd set both the color and the background. You can have all different kinds of styles for one element. There's a lot more than just background and color and border. If you go to W3 Schools, you can see all your different options for styling a web page. But I'm going to end it here. Now that you've got the basic outline of how you format your code, you can start looking at more properties on your own and adding them into your web pages.